Are you a member of the Communist Party? Or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
It's unfortunate and tragic that I have to teach this committee the basic principles of Americanism.
That's not the question. The question is, have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
I'm framing my answer in the only way in which any American citizen can frame his
Then you
answer
denied.
to a question
Then you
which invades his, absolutely invades
Then
his
you
right.
denied. You refuse to answer that question. Is that correct?
I have told you that I will
All right.
offer my beliefs, my affiliations, and
Here's the
everything
witness.
else
Here's the
to
witness.
the American public, and they will know where I stand, as they do from what I have written.
Stand away
I have
from the
written
stand.
for Americanism for many years, and I shall
Stand
continue
away from the
to
stand.
fight for the Bill of Rights, which you are
Officer,
trying to
take
destroy.
this man away from the stand.
Who that was. That was an old clip, cold opening that we played a year ago. We've played like 3 or 4 of them, but one was with Bertolt Brecht, and I wanted to play Brecht, but I couldn't find it, I guess, because Brecht was a leftist, all right? He was to the left, and that took place to the left, I would say, although I don't even know what that means these days, but I know what isn't a leftist is anyone on mainstream media, all right? I'm tired of hearing it.
Yeah,
the radical left. Give me a break, all
left.
right? There's no concern. Andrei Martyanov did a great show yesterday explaining all that. He's going to join us in a few minutes. But going back to that, that was in 1947 during the Red Scare, the second Red Scare. The first Red Scare was right after the 1917 October Revolution. And now what we have is a bear scare, okay? We've had a bear scare for like the last 30 years. And since they're no longer red in Russian, it's not the Soviet Union, but we have a bear scare, and it's all propelled by Russophobia. And we're going to talk about that and other things that are going on with the proxy war with Andrei Martyanov, who he's a very charismatic dude, man. He really is. He is charming, colorful, and has a biting sense of humor. All right, Reggie, he really does.
No, he does.
He does. Have
He
a bite.
does.
And he's an expert on military and naval strategy, and he's got a bunch of books out. I just read one of them, Losing Military Supremacy, and he's also got America's Final War, and Disintegration, Indications of America's Coming Collapse. So that's ominous. And the real revolution in military affairs. He knows his stuff. He really does. And then Larry Johnson, one of our favorites. He's been here many times, and a former CIA analyst and counterterrorism expert for State Department. All right, so let's play. And I just found out about Andrei is a big fan of Roger Waters, who I saw last night. I had dinner with him with with a couple of very interesting people. I might get disbarred if I tell you who I had dinner with last night. So we won't tell you. We'll be right back. He's a Roger Waters. This is for Andrei. All right.
How I wish you were here. Just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground. What have we found? The same old fear. And I wish that you were here. Oh, I wish you were here. I wish you were here.
Now, I know, Larry, you had Roger on your show, and you guys are friends. He's been on here with you as well. But I didn't know, Andrei, you were such a big fan of Roger Waters.
Well, I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd, and
if people know anything about the Soviet Union, especially after the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd absolutely dominated actually the imagination and the music scene in the Soviet Union. I mean, there were a number of great bands, from it was primarily Great Britain when it still had the culture, an incredible culture. I mean, ranging from obviously Beatles to Uriah Heep, for example, Deep Purple, but Pink Floyd was just absolutely something else altogether, and we grew up with that, and just we listened to it nonstop,
Right.
from obviously the Metal to Dark Side of the Moon to Wish You Were Here and There. I wish I was there. What you sent me. So, yeah, I really do.
I
mean,
know. I wish you were there too. We talked about you. You know that. The ambassador and the
and,
deputy ambassador, we spoke, and they spoke highly of your work.
So yeah, and then of course we had animals, and then of course the
I
world
love the
hit
animals.
us.
Yes, yes.
It is a revelation. Basically what they created throughout the 1970s. It's already there. Up with Tchaikovsky and Beethoven, there's a Pink Floyd. Okay.
Right.
And
Roger's
it's just
also got
there. Okay.
Roger has a great opera, 3-act opera. I don't know if you've seen it. He played it in Poland and what was it, Poland's or something, back in 1992. It's called Saïra, and it's a 3-act opera on the French Revolution. Now, let me ask you, Larry, were you a fan of Roger Waters or Pink Floyd long before you two were joined here at WBAI?
Yeah, no, not always. I wasn't a concert goer. But yeah, no, I listened to the music, enjoyed it. In fact, I have a vivid memory when I was working my way through college as actually a security guard at a 3M plant. And I took some tape music with me and would listen to Money.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Did either one of you? Reggie and I saw it here in New York, and I saw it 7 times, including in D.C. here at Madison Square Garden and in Buenos Aires. His "This Is Not a Drill" concert tour. Is that what you were referring to? That you saw Roger in 2022, Andrei?
Yeah, it's in Tacoma Dome.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Oh yeah. Can you believe?
It's just amazing, the sound, and then of course, there is a sentimental piece in you when you grow up with that. I mean, obviously, and then they begin to shine on your crazy diamond, or things of this nature. And you know what? Even then, we knew, the story about Syd Barrett and the whole thing. It just happened. 5 geniuses came together, created an incredible music which influenced everything, and
Roger left 40 years ago, and he
the
hasn't
Final
stopped.
Cut.
Yes,
I have
yes.
Final Cut. Which,
You
by the
do?
way, is a
You do not really?
Great album. Great album.
Okay. Yes, there's 2 Suns in the Sunset. He played in that at his concert. Yeah, it was great. But he couldn't get a room when I was in Buenos Aires. There, he couldn't get a room down there because of it was just right after October 7th, and he made statements that he got Israeli lobby hates him, and he could not get a room in Buenos Aires. He had to stay at a friend's house. His wife got a room, but he was not welcome, and he didn't even stay the night. The last night he was there, he got on a plane and left to Chile. So at any rate, I'm glad you guys agree on that. Maybe we'll play another cut from This Is Not a Drill. Or This Is Not a Drill, Roger Waters. And it was spectacular last night. I got to tell you something. That house of the ambassador, it was just, and the food, and I don't know if it was Russian standard that they were serving.
Oh, it's vodka, right? Oh, good Lord.
No, they had champagne. Roger comes in and he says, give me a cheap glass of white wine, is what he says, because he likes white wine. Chablis.
They all taste the same, white wines.
Yes, they do. All right, Larry, you still have that bottle of red wine that you got at the Prime Grill here in New York City, or whatever the place was?
It disappeared. As I recall, I think we drank it that night.
I think you took it with you. I remember you corked it and took it with you that night, and it was the next day. Was that the day that you appeared before the UN Security Council?
Yeah, it was back April 2024. Good Lord.
Wow. Yeah. I was there. It was an incredible presentation. It really was. And it's been a year and a half. And is the end near? I mean, I've had every guest on this show, who most of them say predicting from 2023, the fall of 2023, that this war is going to be over in a couple of weeks. It just seems to drag on and drag on. What is going on, Larry? First, tell us what you've been describing it daily in your column in Sonar 21. Where are we now? I mean, where does the war? Where's the line of contact, and who's making progress and who isn't? For people out there who don't know, I know because I read you two guys.
Have you ever played the game Jenga? That tower of sticks.
Yeah.
Pull one out at each level.
Right.
It stands until you pull. There's one point that you pull something out and it collapses.
Right.
We're a pole or two from Ukraine collapsing.
Yeah.
All of the indicators are moving in the right direction for Russia and the wrong direction for Ukraine.
Wow.
Russia now has, according to Vladimir Putin, 700,000 soldiers deployed into Ukraine. Quite a reversal from 3.5 years ago, when in February 2022, I think the Russians only had 125,000.
Right. Wow.
Back then, Ukraine probably had a 4-to-1 advantage in terms of manpower deployed in Ukraine over Russia. Now that has completely reversed. Russia seems to have at least a 3-to-1 advantage, and that's according to General Syrskyi, the head of the Ukrainian military. So right now, if we go back 3 years ago, Russia would concentrate in one area along the line of contact where there would be the majority of the action. Now it's pressing in at least 6-7 different locations at once.
Wow.
And Ukraine simply doesn't have the manpower to counter it.
Yeah, but we'll get to where they're going to go from here in terms of help. But I want to ask you, Andrei, according to General Kellogg, I'm not going to play that tape.
Good Lord.
You played it the other day. Larry's played it. Judges played it. Everyone's heard General Kellogg's comedy act there. And it was a comedy act. And I said, what they should do is he needs a musical accompaniment when he talks like that. And maybe Zelensky can break out the piano and play it with his member, while he's talking. That's how disgusting what he says. Now, he says that like 1 million Russians are dead and that they're losing. So what do you make of that kind of statement on behalf of the president there in Kiev?
Well, I mean, Mr. Trump yesterday also, he made a peace between Azerbaijan and Albania. He also saved millions of lives in the war of 100 years between Zamunda and Wakanda. So, I mean, this is a circus. These guys, they do not understand that they humiliate not themselves. I mean, United States military lost all reputation. It's a paper tiger, and their generals are just downright unprofessional morons. But when you're president of the country, he humiliates his country. They do not understand this. Obviously, even I understand that even the guys from Burkina Faso, nothing wrong with that. They were present at the Zapad 2025 exercises, the maneuvers in Russia and Belarus. They were part of it. Those guys know about war and the correlation of forces and means more than any general in Pentagon, let alone Mr. Kellogg, who is he's a clown, I'm sorry. I mean, and these are the people who run the foreign policy, well, partially, obviously the rest of it is run by the Israeli lobby, but I mean, this is what it came down to. Remember H.L. Mencken in 1920?
Yes.
That in the end, the White House will be adorned with a downright moron. And that's what he stated, as our nation's, heart's desire, and our democracy is perfected. And then, of course, we talk about the same Mencken and other people who were saying and warning us about the morons with PhDs. We are in the idiocracy. That's it. Mike Judge was prophetic as a prescient, in 2006 when he created this masterpiece, So, and we are living in the idiocracy, and you have a military which cannot admit to the fact that it's not the strongest. It never was, actually. And that they have to face the situation that many people still do not recognize this fact, which I constantly stress. Russia doesn't fight Ukraine. Russia fights NATO, combined West.
Right.
And that's the whole point. That is why, as we know, Zelensky already stated that he is on the verge of difficult decisions. You know what will be the difficult decision? They will remove their 18-year-old limit on their draft because they simply ran out of men.
Wow. But they did open it up for people to volunteer over 60. Larry, I don't want to stress that point too much, but we're talking about General Kellogg. There was and Andrei actually talked about this guy, former Admiral James Stavridis.
Stavridis,
He had some article out the other day, which was, complete a complete fairy tale. Who is this guy?
Well, Stavridis used to be the head of U.S. European Command, U.S. EUCOM in Stuttgart. Same position held by Ben Hodges. The same position, when you start running down the list of all these television generals that are making such, ridiculous claims, and David Petraeus, Jack Keane, it really is a pathetic lot. I mean, Andrei is understandably scathing in his critique of them because they just, they've got the stars. They've got the retirement pay, but by God, now you understand why the United States has not won a war since World War II.
Right.
Because these are people who are just completely incapable. I don't know if they're incapable, but they clearly reflect no understanding whatsoever of tactics and strategy and modern warfare.
Right. Well, you say the U.S. won the war in World War II. I guess you can make an argument for the Pacific, but 93% of the casualties came in on the Eastern Front there. And
I didn't say that. I mean, that was what if you listen to the toast that King Charles gave to President Trump the other day in London at Windsor Castle.
Yeah.
You would have thought that it was just the United States and Britain that won World War II. And as you correctly note, at least in the European and North African theater, the United States and Britain played a supporting role because the Soviet Union fought the majority of the Wehrmacht during World War II. And similarly, while it's true that the United States, at least from our perspective, we won the war in the Pacific, the reality was that China was occupying about 70% of the Japanese army who was deployed in China to fight the Chinese army. And the then Soviet Union actually was a primary supplier of material support to the Chinese to enable them to hold out. So, were it not for China's effort, and in fact, Soviet support for the Chinese in the China theater, the United States would have been hard-pressed to have won even in the Pacific.
Yeah, and Russia played a big role there, Andrei. You've pointed that out. And I want to talk about Zapad. Zapad, that 100,000 troops. It wasn't just continental. It was sea and air demonstration. And talk about that, and then the Victory Day parade in China, where they had this incredible display of military might and the significance of all of that. It wasn't a Potemkin village that we were looking at.
Well, Zapad 2025, it is a classic strategic exercise, really, and It was run on the 41 ranges. And yeah, altogether about 100,000 of personnel took direct part in it. And for the first time, actually, U.S. Army was invited. They accepted, which is good. That's a good way to do it. To build some kind of the rapport and understanding. And again, while I'm very scathing about American generals, I understand that the last surviving vestige, essentially, of the military competence in the United States are those colonels and brigadier generals in operational departments, operation planning departments in Pentagon. Those people who have to deal with the reality on the grounds. So, but the point is that it was strategic exercise. It was also done on the naval theaters of operation, and just to demonstrate to what is being done with the Russian military is being pretty much now in the constant reform, because Valery Gerasimov, the chief of the general staff, what many people didn't understand, but I've been articulating this already in 2022, together with my dear friend, Colonel Vladimir Trukhan, and it was obviously from the, essentially the idea in Russian military then, that Gerasimov is not just fighting NATO, and he already defeated it essentially. It's the fact that he is shaping the armed forces, which will be untouchable until at least 2050, 2055. This is what is happening right now. It's not just the fight, and killing, which is now the kill ratio is astounding. It's something like 1 to 30, even up that high in favor of Russia. And it's the creation of the completely new armed force, and he is very successful at that. That is why his service life, he wasn't allowed to retire. And couple days ago, Vladimir Putin extended his service life as a chief of general staff by 5 years. The guy is a military genius, essentially, as are people who are around him. So, and that was reflected in many people from all over the world, including the United States, and they met the defense minister of Belarus, who said them that, we will show you whatever you want. And that was really important. There were people from, as I already stated, Burkina Faso, Bangladesh, elite Indian, people representative of the elite Indian regiment, for example, and staff officers. Obviously, Chinese traditionally are there. And coming back to the parade, a lot of it was just absolutely magnificent. And that was the show. It's more the symbolic part, actually, which matters in this case, because it was so synchronized and so aesthetically it was amazing, So there are some issues which I would rather not discuss about parts of it, but yes, it was extremely impressive. And yes, that was the demonstration of the military might, and the message was absolutely clear. So I enjoyed it thoroughly, And again, listen, the way those girls, good Lord, unbelievable. Not to speak about that, most of them are drop dead gorgeous. So just, Chinese know how to put on a great military parade.
Right. We didn't see that. Didn't we have a victory parade here, Larry, that they were not in step? They were. There was something that was a paltry demonstration. I don't want to hammer the U.S. military. I admire them. It's not, you can't fault the forces there, but in terms of weaponry, what we get for $1 trillion, Russia gets better than that, particularly when it comes to ballistic missiles, supersonic missiles, hypersonic missiles, for I don't know, maybe like 15% of that expenditure. How is that possible, Larry?
Oh, because it is politics, not strategy, that governs U.S. expenditures. Right now, and Andrei has written about this extensively, Russia and China both have national strategic defense plans. And once you have a plan, then you know what are your needs in order to meet those objectives. And that's why both the total expenditure by Russia and China combined is still, I think, about 1/3 of what the United States spends. And yet, as you correctly note, we're in an era where we produce these extremely expensive weapon systems. The THAAD, the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Weapon. It's an air defense system. Those go for the rockets alone on them. The missiles that are fired to bring down an attacking missile, those go for $13 million apiece.
Wow.
The Patriot missile, I think it's their S-3, goes for like $7 million apiece.
Wow.
Well, when you consider the fact that you've got to fire at least 2 Patriot missiles and sometimes 4 to take down an inbound object, whether it's a missile or a drone, then all of a sudden you begin to see the math doesn't add up. Let's say that the average Russian missile coming in costs $1 million, and that may be excessive. You're firing 2 Patriot missiles at it. That's a total of $14 million. So right there's a $13 million disparity. Wow. And then you look at, well, surely the United States can produce a lot of those. No, they can't. They can produce 550. The biggest number I've seen is maybe 700 a year. Well, when you consider the other day, a couple of weeks ago, Russia fired a combined total of 810 drones and missiles on one day. And if let's just assume this isn't the case, but let's assume there were enough Patriot batteries in Ukraine to fire missiles at every one of those incoming drones or missiles from Russia. You're talking a minimum then of 1,600 Patriot missiles. Well, that's almost 4 years of production.
Wow.
In one day.
But
how do you sustain that?
I don't know.
Sustain it. So that's what's crazy.
Yeah, speaking of drones, this event, Andrei, you talked about it last night, that these drones that drifted off, these styrofoam drones that supposedly drifted from Russia 2,000 miles, away, even though they had a range of 700 kilometers at best. And everyone is, up in arms, indignant. It's a complete counterfeit indignance, because I think it was, and you said it yesterday, it was a false flag operation, and the only missile that did any damage was fired. It was a Polish missile from a F-15. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it was clearly a false flag, especially this wonderful Gerbera drone, which are used as the decoys. They are not armed with anything. They are just composite materials, and I loved this Gerbera drone, which landed on the chicken coop. Evidently, they can fly backwards too, so in order to, and as you might expect, I like how many Poles reacted with this too. They obviously, even Poles mocked this. It was, you know what, the expertise of Combined West today in this field degenerated so badly, they cannot make even the proper false flag anymore. They are being laughed out of the room, as the bunch of the morons. But yes, F-16, they don't have F-15. F-16, evidently, of the Polish Air Force shot at some drone, whatever, one of the AIM-120 MRAM. Evidently, it didn't arm, and thank God, it missed and hit some poor Pole's house. So I'm pretty sure he's happy now because he will shake down the Polish government for everything it's got. But I mean, it was a false flag. It was yet another pathetic attempt with this Kellogg bunch of cretins like Ben Hodges. There is a cabal there. Kellogg family is directly involved in the supply of whatever is left in the U.S. arsenal to Ukraine. So he doesn't like Roger Waters wrote in the famous, obviously, Wish You Were Here album, and if I tell you the name of the game, boy, it's called Riding That Gravy Train, so it's, and that's exactly what Mr. Kellogg and all this bunch of the corrupt American and NATO generals and Russophobes, they hate Russia viscerally, do not want to end, but there's the problem, as Larry correctly stated. It's not just the quality of technology, which, it's inferior. Western technology is dramatically inferior to anything for what Russia produces today. But it's also, the matter of just quantity. You just cannot outproduce Russia. Putin today, yesterday actually, when celebrating it's called the gunsmith, but in reality it's the armament production day in Russia. It's all, celebration of all those arms production people, because obviously it's way more than just gunsmithing anymore. And he stated that, in some, for example, sectors of the production, Russia increased it 30-fold. I'll just give you one example. In terms of the most valuable and most serious weapons, which are smart and high precision weapons, Russia outproduces the combined West, including United States. United States, all European NATO and everything. She outproduces it by the order of magnitude. That means by 10 times.
Wow.
So if they want to fight the war, sure, they can try.
Well, Larry, you were going to add something to that?
Well, I was just going to note that one of the memes that's been circulating online, it shows this Polish, 20-something-year-old. He's crouched down in fear because he's hearing this noise. Boom, 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 boom. He says, "Oh my God, the drone is coming!" And then you look up, and it's a guy pulling his suitcase over cobblestones. So it's the noise of the suitcase hitting the cobblestones. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
That's hilarious, Larry. Well, I want to play this for you, Larry, and comment on it because and then I want to talk about Russophobia. And it seems like this is what's driving it. You listen to these EU clowns like von der Leyen, whatever her name is, and Callas, and then you listen to Merz and the other two stooges, Starmer and Macron. But here's somebody who I think is the British Defense Minister, I think, or spokesman. What's it, John Healey? Could you play that, Reggie? This John Healey, and then comment on that. It's about 45 seconds long, what he had to say.
I'm confirming that within days, British fighter jets and a air-to-air tanker behind us will be part of NATO's new airspace mission to defend the eastern flank against the Russian incursions, the Russian actions which have been so reckless and dangerous and unprecedented in recent days. They'll be part of a NATO air mission alongside the Germans, the Danes, the French, and it reinforces NATO's eastern flank in the face of Putin's actions. And the message to Moscow is clear. Putin tested NATO, NATO responded with unity, and the UK will play our full part.
Larry, those are some big words. Your comments.
It's like, it reminds me of a 6-year-old, 7-year-old kid playing dress up. Dressing up as a doctor or as a policeman or as a soldier, pretending to be something that they're not really.
Boy,
it's just ridiculous and absurd.
Yeah.
They're not going, they're going to scramble multi-million-dollar aircraft to take down those drones that allegedly Russia fired into Poland, but it was Ukraine that did it. It cost about $500 a piece, maybe $1,000. Okay, so once again, you got NATO spending multi-billion-dollar aircraft and hundreds of thousands, if not a few $1 million, on air-to-air missiles to go after $500 drones.
Right.
It doesn't even begin to make. It doesn't make economic sense, and it exposes the complete ineptitude of the West.
Right. And they're talking about. They were talking about, but they may have backed off of this, and Andrei explained why, about a no-fly zone, that it might expose the defense system as being inadequate and paltry. Andrei, can you give us more on that?
Oh no, yeah, it's you're absolutely correct, but it was a New York Times of all places, and they said, the real reason behind it, because if we go and try to take down those drones and fail, NATO will be exposed as impotent. Well, it had been exposed as impotent. That's what they don't understand. But at least they give up this rationale, which is correct, because they are really good at PR, propaganda, all those wonderful videos, explosions, Maverick, the Top Gun Maverick, and things of this nature. All those fairy tales. The reality is, first, NATO doesn't have competent air defense. They have some air defense systems which are in capabilities are probably at the level of Russian systems of early 2000s. So, and that's about it. They do not have understanding of what integrated air defense is and how it operates as a system. Together with, that's why Russians call it aerospace forces, WWII. There's not anymore separate, these are several, it's the service. And when you read this, even when they say, some experts say this, oh, okay, good. They understand the stakes and they know that they will fail. And that is why they will have to back off. And in the end, Stavridis, listen, I understand. He was a great admiral. He commanded, destroyer. He commanded, obviously, the carrier battle group of the aircraft carrier legendary Enterprise before it was obviously scuttled. And the problem with these guys from the top brass in the United States, they do not understand a real strategy. There is not a single strategist of note anywhere in Washington, D.C. Anybody who has any grasp of that. And I'm talking about military strategy. Forget about grand strategy in the country, which is now, for all intents and purposes, is barely governable. But the point is that they don't understand it. They understand basically this mythology which honed them, which allowed them to grow as officers. And I'm not saying they are, for example, Stavridis. Hey, the guy commanded the carrier battle group. But he is undeniably serious professional, a naval professional. The problem is he cannot command ground armies. He doesn't understand a thing about continental warfare. He doesn't understand, as nobody in Pentagon has any understanding of what joint force is. They try to use this verbiage about joint force, but until the United States has the general staff, and the United States is not going to have the general staff, there will be no joint force. They will be always kicking each other in the balls by services, who will be fighting for the shrinking pie, of the military budget. And so when you look at that, so he dreams about something from 1990s. They are stuck in the 1990s. And when you look attentively at America's military history, and this is not to say that America didn't have their, competent officers. Of course it did. So, and heroic people, so nobody tries to, disparage the United States in this way. No, but when you look attentively at the victory record, can you show me the war which United States won, for crying out loud? And then, of course, you have people, they have this Gulf War 1.0, and then, of course, the kind of, the 2003, which is beating the crap out of the, totally retarded and impotent force, okay, of Saddam. And they think, oh my God, it's such an accomplishment. No, it is not. And it added very little to any kind of the development of the military science, except for the fact that even in 2003 there were issues with the cooperation and basically interoperability of forces. So, and if you have issues when you fight Saddam's force, circa 2003, what do you expect? You want to go and fight what? Russians? It's just ridiculous, and so, and plus Stavridis being essentially, although he was service warfare officer, he understands obviously carrier power, which is obsolete. And look at Houthis. The guys in sandals and with the cheap drones and subsonic missiles, they essentially closed one of the most important choke points in the world. And the combined NATO fleets failed to open it.
Wow.
Simple as that. This is carrier power. You know what happened with the carrier power with Eisenhower? It was moved further away from the even drones. You know, forget about if you have the salvos of the real serious anti-shipping cruise missiles flying at it.
Right.
They will not be able to defend. That's simple as that.
Yeah, Larry, I mean, if the U.S. and NATO and the EU were to actually get involved physically with ground forces, how would they operate? I mean, are they trained and will training even help you in that kind of terrain against a seasoned, large Russian force?
The first challenge is, how do they move? Do they have the forces already recruited and trained, and can they assemble them and move them into theater? You know, the U.S. has this thing called tip fiddle, TPFLD, time, phase, flow. It's a way that how you identify which units are going to move from point A to point B. With respect to the first Gulf War in 1990, they started moving troops in 1990 to go into Iraq, push Iraq out of Kuwait. That started 5 months in advance. It took 5 months to ramp that up, number one. Number two, once you ramp them up and you move them into position, do you have the logistics chain to keep them supplied with not just food and water, medical supplies, ammunition? What the special military operation has exposed is that the levels of violence that are being carried out on the battlefield, the rates of fire by artillery and by drones and by fixed-wing aircraft exceeds whatever the entire West can produce. They've already exposed their inadequacy to provide artillery shells. So, you know, when they're talking about, oh boy, yeah, we're going to light our guys up and we're going to come in and kick some Russian ass, it's children's talk because there's no muscle behind it.
Right. Well, what is the West to do right now, Andrei? I mean, they can throw in the towel. Their economies are, you know, from all the three big ones there: France, Germany, and Great Britain. I mean, they're in almost total collapse economically, and so I don't know where are they going to get the money to finance any kind of defense, mobilize an army, and send new weapon systems over to Ukraine. And even if they did, it's the biggest fool's errand ever invented.
Yeah, you already pretty much answered your own question because, yeah, even if they did, where will they get it? First, we have to understand that the military-industrial base, which is required to fight any kind of serious war in Europe, simply is absent from even those big three, which they're not that big. Let's face it, United Kingdom, and I feel great sympathy to English people. You know, make no mistake, I do. You know, although I sometimes cuss at Europeans, but I understand their struggles, and especially British. You know, for them it was very much more hurtful departure from greatness than, for example, from France. France, I mean, was a loser, essentially. It was, if not for Stalin and Soviet Union, which made sure that France was present in this United Nations Security, permanent member as the United Nations Security Council. British had a real claim for being a very big part of the victory, you know, in the World War II. And for them to find themselves now being first, they are poor. They will be even more poor, okay? Same, France is, yeah, we can see ourselves what is going on there. Germany, I don't even want to go there. Their militaries are pathetic. They are Lilliputian, quoting Doug McGregor, which is correct. I mean, They don't have military-industrial base. Even if they print money, again, where would they get them? What will they get for? Same thing, which they cannot reproduce anymore, other than what I am having the blister on my tongue, speaking non-stop. It also refers to the United States too. It's the Table of Organization and Equipment, TOE, which is from 1990s. It's, yeah, that's what it is. This armor, artillery, everything, the only thing which they have at this stage is definitely state-of-the-art American space ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, because of the very developed satellite constellation. It's United States was always very good in space-based intel and signal intel and signal basically processing. But other than that, what do we see? We see things which are obsolete. I mean, on the operational level, it's like, yeah, they moved those aircraft carriers. Yeah, they are not impressing anymore. So, and what we know that we all knew, that Abrams M1 tank, no matter how much you improve it, it's just not good tank to start with, And I can quote again Doug McGregor. Don't listen to me. I'm quoting that. That's what I do usually. When I write my books, 90% of what information I use in my books, I use it from the Western sources, not to be accused of being, doing this Russian rah-rah. But when you have the freaking battalion of the M1 Abrams moving in column, you can see it from the space.
Right, yeah.
Their signature in infrared is just, it's like the Christmas tree, and when you look at this, like, yeah, guys, it's good enough to beat, somebody like, Saddam. It's not good for the modern warfare at all. And especially that, Russians also developed this, it's real-time situational tactical awareness. It goes through, from space down to the airspace and down to the ground. And then suddenly you have, if you look attentively how the Russian staffs of the, let's say, tactical, regiment or even brigade level work and go on the operational tactical or operational such as division or corps. It is all basically real time information coming through. That is why the effectiveness of this is, and you look at the kill ratio, it's horrendous. I know it sounds horrible, but that's what it is.
I got to be honest. I've seen it, Larry. You actually laid it out the other day, the ratio in your Sonar 21 2 days ago. And just in a minute, because I got to play something here for you guys. Just give us an idea of what you printed the other day, the facts and figures on the kill ratio.
I just took the number of the bodies exchanged going back to January to show that the average right now, as a total going from January until recently, is for every dead Russian body that's handed over to the Russians by the Ukrainians, the Russians are handing over a minimum of 40 Ukrainian cadavers and reportedly have another 40,000 on ice, but they just haven't been able to work out the exchange. Now, this really flies in the face of General Kellogg's claims that, Russia's moving so slowly. They're hardly advancing, barely across the front. And yet when they get presented with these numbers, this tremendous disproportion in terms of Ukrainian dead compared to Russian dead, the excuse then becomes, the Russians are moving so fast along the front that the Ukrainians don't have time to recover their bodies. Okay, now wait a second. Which is it? The Russians are doing that, that Three Stooges thing. Slowly I turn.
Step by step.
Inch by inch,
All right.
Whenever I hear Kellogg say that, I always see the Three Stooges.
Yeah, I see a guy at a bait bar on a lake on a dock, one of those ones that made out of bamboo, and there's like 3 seats. He's the dude sitting in the corner with a beer can hat, whacked out of his mind and driving everybody out. I want to play this. I got to play this song. We were talking about Russophobia, and Russophobia, as it's this is in one dictionary, is the dislike or fear of Russia, Russian people, or Russian culture. All right? The opposite, of course, is Russophilia. But I'm going to play this. This goes way back. We've had it here since 1917, all right? Russophobia. The Brits have had it a lot longer. I'm going to play this song, Reggie. This is a tune that was written in 1877, the lyrics, and it's called, and this is where the word jingoism comes in. This is Jingo... Yo, what is it? Jingo, by Jingo. It's McDermott's war tune. Listen to the lyrics.
The dogs of war are loose, and the rugged Russian bear, full bent on blood and slavery, has crawled out of his lair. It seems a thrashing now and then will never help to tame that brute, and so he's out upon the same old game. The lion did his best to find him some excuse to crawl back to his lair again. All efforts were no use. He hungered for his victim. He's pleased when blood is shed. But let us hope his crimes may all recoil on his own head. We don't want to fight, but by Jingo if we do, we've got the ships, we've got the men, and got the money too. We've fought the bear before, and while we're Britain's true, the Russians shall not have Constantinople.
Andrei, how would you compare that music with that?
Well, I have to admit that I did not hear all the words properly, so it's difficult for me to say. I just want to say I need to run pretty soon, like in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, we're going to let you go, and we'll keep Larry in 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. Any last thoughts that you want to convey, Andrei? I know it's Smoothie X12 is your YouTube site, and I urge everyone to go there. You will learn a lot. I watched the one yesterday 3 times. All right, and it's so informative. So, any last words you'd like to convey to this New York City, New York tri-state area audience?
Oh no, we definitely love New York, so it's despite the fact that it has its own ills, let's put it mildly. No, I just want to say that, it's always a pleasure being with you, and convey to Roger my undying love for Pink Floyd and his work, so.
I already did that. All right.
Maybe he will agree to have an interview with me, because I think
I will make that I will ask him to do that. I want to play this one last. This is for you. This is another Rogers song. What do we have there? Okay, we're going to play this for you. Then you can leave. But Larry, stick around for 5 minutes. All right?
Yeah.
All right. This is for you.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in a classroom. Teacher, leave them kids alone. Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone. All in all, it's just another brick in the wall.
All right, Andrei, we'll let you go now. That was especially
okay, guys,
for you.
have a nice weekend. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks a lot,
Later,
my
Andrei.
friend. All right. So, Larry, we have 5 minutes, 6 minutes left. Anywhere you want to go that's bothering you, what's happening, whether it be Epstein, the Attorney General, or the FBI director, or the Charlie Kirk, whatever's happening there, and Netanyahu's like denial every 5 minutes that it wasn't him.
Yeah.
So you got 7 minutes to do whatever you want, Larry. All right.
Yeah, there's something pretty interesting going on with Israel's special status in the United States is in trouble, and one symptom of that is surrounding the death of Charlie Kirk, because when you look at the people like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, all talking about there were directed pressure brought by Zionists, not just Jewish Zionists, but also Christian Zionists, to try to force Charlie Kirk to make sure his organization maintained strong, uncritical support for Israel and stayed away from the genocide in Gaza. But apparently, Kirk, to his credit, is starting to have a change of heart on that. Now, all of this takes place against the backdrop of this week. You had a meeting in Doha of the Arab Islamic Summit with 54 nations, some of them who in the past haven't been exactly what you'd call friends. You had the president of Egypt sit down with the president of Iran, Pezeshkian, and they agreed for the first time in 34 years to reestablish diplomatic relations. You had the Saudis sign a mutual defense pact with Pakistan pledging to provide Saudi Arabia with nuclear weapons or come to their defense if they are attacked. So the United States' betrayal of Qatar by allowing Israel to attack Qatar more than a week ago to try to assassinate the Hamas delegation has provoked a tremendous backlash among the Western allies. Then on top of that, just today, you vote at the United Nations Security Council, where China, Russia, Algeria, and Pakistan proposed that, hey, let's keep the sanctions relief for Russia, for Iran in place under JCPOA. The United States, Germany, France, UK, they all voted, hell no, we want to punish them. Well, okay, what Russia and China then said was that action by the UN Security Council is illegal and invalid. Therefore, we're going to ignore all those old sanctions that you imposed years ago on Iran. We're going to deal with and have economic relations with
Wow.
Iran.
That was just voted on?
Yeah.
Wow.
Today.
Wow, that's breaking news. Could have told me that earlier. Yeah. So,
No,
how does that?
Top secret. Top secret.
Yeah. So, as far as the Doha thing, I mean, how did the president know? CIA know?
Yes.
How could they know that in a country that's hosting 10,000, the biggest airfield outside of the U.S., I believe,
It's the forward
in the Mideast?
headquarters. It's the forward headquarters of U.S. Central Command.
Right.
They have on that base something called the Combined Air Operations Center, CAOC, pronounced KAOC. I was on that base back, 19 years ago. So it's big base. There is the KAOC, the Combined Air Operations Center, monitors all air traffic from as far north as Turkey, as far south as the Arabian Sea, as far west as the Mediterranean, and as far east as Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Wow.
So they absolutely knew that Israel was launching the attack. Trump was advised about it. I think Trump signed off on it. And then when it went awry, all of a sudden they decided, whoops, let's pretend that we didn't know about it, that we were blindsided. So this is, but what it's done is it's energized these countries in a way that they're now more opposed to the United States and have lost a lot of trust and confidence in the United States.
Wow. All right, Larry, that's been that was the quickest hour I think I've ever had here. It's like we just got started. You know what I mean? I have like 9 pages of bullet points here, and I got to halfway through one page. You know, seriously, it was really fascinating. You guys make a great team together. You and Andrei. It's really informative, and so people can catch you at Sonar 21. Is it sonar21.com?
Yes, that's it.
All right, and if you want to get on his mailing list, so you can get these daily long. They're like 1,500 word essays that you pump out every night. I don't know how you do it, but I'll see you on the judge's show later on today. Have a good time. All right, say hello to the judge.
Hey, will do. Thanks for the invite.
All right, thank you. Anytime. All right, a little bit of music by Shostakovich, Second Waltz. Yes. All right.